list of.
Amrit Wilson's question: how were alliances built with other communities, representative organization from Commonwealth communities, particularly the Afro-Caribbean community? During the 50s and early 60s, many colonial countries didn't achieve their independence until late 60s. India was the country which achieved independence in 1947. It was partitioned by the British and the Congress and Muslim League in India. And hardly any other country achieved the independence. They were still under colonial rule. But the movement from the colonial countries, their representatives were present in Britain. Indian Workers Association in the Midland area built alliances with the Pakistani community by asking the comrades to initiate Pakistani Workers Association. Not only you support the Indian Workers Association, it is required because the country is divided. India, Pakistan is on the map. It is important for Pakistani origin comrade to form Pakistani Workers Association, and it was formed. Tony Hawk, his name Tajammal Haq. He was Pakistani at that time before he became a Bangladeshi in 71. Nazir Hussain, who later started K2 restaurant. Ajaz, Nabi, Manzoor, and there was one person from Bradford. Indian Workers Association provided support to them to establish the organization, and they did. And the first joint event IWA held with distributing leaflets jointly with the Indian Workers Association and Pakistani Workers Association against the 1960 war between India and Pakistan. It made good impact on both communities. That the slogan was, we want peace, not war. Stop the war and start talking and negotiating the end of the war. Some Pakistanis and Indians, they didn't like our leafleting. The leafleting was done in front of the cinema houses in nearby the football ground, Birmingham City. There was a big cinema hall. Handworth, Lozelle, in these areas. And cooperation carried on with the Pakistani Workers Association. Later, when Bangladesh became a separate country, then Tony Hawk and other Bengali comrades, they formed Bangladeshi Workers Association. So that was with that community. With the Afro-Caribbean community in Birmingham, there was a standing conference of West Indian organization, and one Mr. Kelly, he was in close contact, and IWA invited not only him and some other comrades, and I forgot the name. There was a guy from SMADIC to speak at Indian Work Association public meeting, and their organization invited Joshi particularly to speak at their organization. That's how the relationship was. In London, the relationship was built with Afro-Caribbean organization, late 50s, around the proposals of Commonwealth Immigration Control Bill, that before the government moved that bill, it was Member of Parliament Sir Cyril Osborne. He was from Midland area. He was the leading light proposing private members bill to control the immigrant from Commonwealth countries and from the colonies. Indian Work Association, along with other white and black organization, organized a lobby, one in 1960. The Conservative didn't propose that bill, and that lobby was quite successful. Tories, Macmillan Prime Minister, then they moved the Commonwealth Immigrant Bill, which became law on 1st July 1962. And between those two periods, the activity was mostly around about the immigration control from the Commonwealth countries and the colonial countries, which was quite successful campaigns. One pamphlet was published, and Dr. Tarambir, who was a researcher at Birmingham University, he drafted that pamphlet by refuting all the allegations of we cause health problem, we cause housing problem, we cause educational problem, and we create unemployment because black people and Asian are taking jobs of the white person.
Is that the pamphlet with the black cover?
Yeah, it was one by one, yeah.
And it quotes from the Smethwick News Telegraph in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Smethwick Telephone.
Yeah.
And so that was sent to 640 members of parliament, posted through the post. No internet on those days. And one thing came clear, that Labour Party took a clear position against the Commonwealth Immigration Bill, and they voted against on the first reading, second reading in the Lords, and Labour Party leader Yates, he declared in the House of Commons that when Labour government will return, they will repeal this act. So that's another thing which I already recorded. So that was one way of, and more there was a coordination with Afro-Caribbean black organization in London area. Campaign Against Racial Discrimination, CARD, was formed. It was formed by Dr. Pitt and some other Afro-Caribbean, Vishnudat Sharma from the Indian Work Association. He was on the steering committee of Campaign Against Racial Discrimination.
There's another.
And that was the work in London. Let me finish. And in Midlands, Indian Work Association initiated to form campaign against CCARD, the Coordination Committee Against Racial Discrimination. Labour Party member Mr. Victor Yates, he accepted to become its president. He was member of parliament from Ladywood. Joshi became secretary. Morris Ludma, who launched the Searchlight later on. He was also active members, and they were Afro-Caribbean. Beni Brown was on it. And I remember Beni Brown. And Mr. Kelly was on it. So that committee started working in the Birmingham area. It worked very well, organized, coordinating meetings. And also it joined the campaign against immigration bill in those days. So that was the coordination in the Midlands area. There was some coordination in the Yorkshire area, which I am not fully aware. But mainly it was in the Midland area and the London area. So, and of course with Claudia Jones, she started publishing West Indian Gazette. Comrade Matjanda from IWA, he and Claudia, they worked jointly on the West Indian Gazette. And both of them with many other Afro-Caribbean organizations. Yeah.
And during the 81 riots and the 85 riots, particularly in Handsworth.
That's coming later.
But just on the issue of alliances,
yeah.
How did that work? Was there already good links for like-minded community organisations to come together, to ask for calm? What was the organisation?
The links were already there, which was from CCARD and linked with the Afro-Caribbean organization in West Bromwich, in Birmingham, and Beni Brown was always there, but Maxie came on scene.
It's Maxie Hales.
Yeah. 81 riot were